The fall season had just begun, and I was outside my house putting up Halloween decorations. The weather was a bit cold and breezy, which I really like. But then, a strange man started walking toward me. Annoyed, I said, "What are you doing here? This is my house, go away." He calmly replied, "All right, fine," and walked away onto the road. However, he stopped and kept staring at me from a distance. His behavior seemed very odd, and I started feeling uneasy. After finishing up the lights, I went back inside. Later that night, while I was watching TV in my room, I heard a noise downstairs, like someone was slowly sliding the back door open. Holding my breath, I went downstairs and saw that the sliding door was open. My heart started pounding and I shouted, "Who's there?" That's when I noticed a figure hiding in the dark. It was the same man. I immediately ran outside, but the man started chasing me. I ran straight to my neighbor's house and they called the police. But by the time they arrived, the man had escaped. Even now, I feel scared thinking about what could have happened if I hadn't run away. This time, at the end of October, I visited my family's big house and decided to spend the night in the cabin, which was located at the edge of the forest behind the house. As I walked through the forest path to reach the cabin, the night was pitch dark, and there were no lights along the way. At one point I heard a sound, as if someone was following me, but in the darkness I couldn't see anything. Eventually I reached the cabin and locked the door, but shortly after I heard the door shaking and then loud knocking. Fear gripped me, and I held my breath as I peeked through the window. A man was standing outside the door, staring at me angrily. Just then my brother shouted and the man ran away. To this day, I have no idea who that man was or why he was following me. Camping in the fall has its own charm, so I decided to go camping in a forest on a familiar trail. At night, while I was sleeping in my tent, I suddenly woke up to the sound of footsteps outside. I stayed inside the tent, frozen with fear, but I felt like something was definitely wrong. I quickly stepped out of the tent and there he was, the same man who had been watching me during the day. He stood there silently staring at me. I panicked and ran straight into the forest. It was pitch dark and I couldn't figure out where I was going, but running away seemed like the only way to save myself. I'm convinced that man was about to attack me. His creepy stare and unsettling presence are enough to make sure I never return to that place again.